Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS update. This time out, a new beat-making solution for iOS devices from Arturia. Let's get started. Today we're checking out iSpark, which is an iOS version of a computer app named Spark that comes from Arturia. Now Arturia, of course, is well known for their modeled instruments, analog synthesizers, those types of things that they've modeled, but they've also modeled drum machines, created an app for the computer called Spark that does all sorts of beat-making things. You can put together songs, you can put together patterns, all kinds of editing, real-time controls. They've taken all that same technology and brought it over to iOS devices. Plus, they've allowed you to interface it with the SPARKle controller so you can get hands-on with what's happening inside your iOS device. You don't have to have the SPARKle controller to use iSpark on your iOS device. You can use it just on the screen. All the controls are right here, so you can do everything right here on the screen. But taking advantage of having that hardware interface plugged straight into your iPad in this case really makes it easy to create beats. Let's take a quick tour of iSpark and look at what you can do with this app. Beginning at the upper left, we have our transport controls, of course. Play, stop, record, so you can record in real time. Take that out of record. We have control over volume, and there is a volume control on the SPARKle as well, so we can remote control that function. We have tempo control, and again, we can control that from the hardware controller if we like, or you can control it from the front panel. We also have mute and solo controls, so in real time you can create breakdowns inside your songs or your patterns. In the bottom of the iSpark screen is where we create our patterns and songs. We have 4 different banks of patterns, A, B, C, and D, and each of those banks includes 16 patterns, and we can chain those patterns together to create songs. Across the bottom is where the sounds are arrayed. We have 16 pads here, each of which holds a drum sound. So we've got kick drum, snare drum, hi-hat, there's toms in here, cymbals, so all kinds of different sounds available. Now those same controls are mirrored here in the SPARKle hardware. So we've got 4 banks, we press the bank, and then our first 4 pads here, call it bank A, B, C, or D. Our pattern switch allows us to select one of the 16 patterns. In this case we have 8 drum pads, but we can access the second bank by hitting this switch. So we do have access to all 16 sounds on 8 pads. As I mentioned, you can chain patterns together to create songs, and you also can play the patterns in real time, and you can set this up so that it'll wait for the end of the pattern before the next pattern starts, or you can set it up so it immediately switches. So if we've got pattern 1 selected here, and we want to go to pattern 6, it waits for the downbeat to do that. So you can very easily improvise a song arrangement by just playing on the patterns. iSpark also includes a lot of power for shaping the sounds. So if we have our kick drum here, we can select that, our bass drum. Up here at the top, we have 6 controls for shaping that sound, so we can set the pitch. We can also set the frequency shift so that the sound drops or raises when we hit it. Let's set our decay longer. So you can very easily shape those sonic effects on each of your drum pads. On the hardware controller, we have P1, P2, and P3, and those are mapped to different parameters here inside the software. So this is our pitch. We've also got our frequency shift here, and this is our decay time. We have real-time effects that we can apply globally onto our whole pattern, or you can apply those to an individual instrument. So for example, if we start playback here, we can be on the filter setting, and we can either control things here with the bandpass filter, or use the controller. And there are a number of different types of filters built in here. High pass, an SEM filter, other effects include a slicer or repeat, so lots of different real-time effects we can apply to our patterns and our songs. iSpark comes with a wide array of content. What we've been listening to is called ATS Studio Drums, but we can open up the menu here, select Open, and see all the different styles and all the different types of drum kits that are included. Berlin Electro would be one here. We can load that up. Other examples. Scroll down here. Here's industrial. And we can choose to load just the kit, or we can load a complete project, which includes song data as well. Let's check out one more here. We'll open this up. There's one down here. This is called Sneaker Pimp. So lots and lots of great material comes with iSpark. And again, you can use those kits to create your own songs or work with songs that are provided to create your own new music. iSpark has some additional screens. So the one we've been looking at is called the main screen with the pads and the pattern programming. We can also look at the mixer screen, which allows us to set up our mix of all the sounds coming from the pads. We have our studio screen that allows us to get in and work much more in detail on the sounds that are assigned to each pad. On the sequence screen, we can create our patterns and songs, and we can do it in a much more visual fashion. And then finally, we have the song screen where we can chain together our patterns to create a complete song. You can choose to quantize or not quantize your parts. We have a built-in metronome, and we also have a connection panel that allows you to interface iSpark with the outside world. There are other ways we can get material in and out of iSpark as well. So if we open this up, we can import. So it will look for a file list there in a folder. We can also export, and that will send the contents of iSpark into iTunes, and from there you can load it into apps inside your computer. And finally, you can expand on the sounds that are in iSpark with the expansion store. So these are in-app purchases that allow you to go in and purchase more kits and more musical material that you can put to work in your own songs. iSpark is a really great app for creating beats and making songs. You can put together all kinds of different sounds here, assign different things to pads, work with the sounds in real time, do filtering effects, stutter effects, all kinds of things you can do to create music inside iSpark. And if you really want to get hands-on with the app, you'll definitely want to check out SPARKle, the hardware controller. And that also comes with the software that runs on your computer. Now notice I don't even have a power supply here. It's being powered right from our iPad, so we don't even have that cable to plug in. So this is a very portable setup. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's iOS Update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.